Mariner Books and Harper Audio present The Injustice of Place, Uncovering the Legacy of Poverty in America by Kathryn J. Edin, H. Luke Shaefer, and Timothy J. Nelson. Read by Janina Edwards. A note before we begin. To view maps and charts from the book, don't forget to download the accompanying enhancement PDF from your audiobook provider, or go directly to www.harpercollins.com/pages/The Injustice of Place. We dedicate this book to the scholars who painted indelible portraits of life in America's internal colonies nearly a century ago. Charles S. Johnson, William Boyd Allison Davis, Burley B. Gardner, Mary R. Gardner, Ida B. Wells, Hortense Powdermaker, John Dollard, Paul S. Taylor, and James S. Brown. Introduction. It is hard to say exactly when we first noticed the pattern. Just before we hit the outskirts of a cotton belt town, the fields would give way to a string of gleaming white antebellum homes with large lawns, old-growth trees, and grand entrances framed by columns reaching 2 or 3 stories high. Merging onto the majestic arterial boulevards leading into town, we would see more imposing homes presiding over meticulously manicured grounds. In Sparta, a rural hamlet near Augusta, Georgia, it appears as though someone has invested millions to restore an elegant Greek revival home. New windows and shutters gleam. Yet, just across the street lies a dilapidated shack, 1 room deep, with a sagging roof. Over in Demopolis, Alabama, sits the venerable Gaineswood, a massive structure known for its elaborate interior suites, including domed ceilings, remarkable decorative arts, and original antebellum furnishings. Left out of the photos on Gaineswood's website and tourist brochures are the aging wood cottages in varying states of disrepair, the tumble-down trailers, and the sagging modular houses that flank the historic home. County seats in the region typically feature a leafy square, where a courthouse of sometimes massive proportions and stunning architectural beauty stands over streets that are hollowed-out carcasses of a more prosperous time. There is often an imposing Confederate monument on the courthouse lawn, honoring soldiers of the war waged a century and a half ago. Nearly without fail, there is at least one upscale business, a home goods store, clothing boutique, high-end restaurant, art gallery, or gourmet coffee shop, catering not to the average resident, but to the remnants of the white gentry and to tourists who come to see the grand homes. What becomes abundantly clear as we travel across the country to see America's most deeply disadvantaged places firsthand is that they are often home not only to desperate poverty, but also to considerable wealth. In the fall of 2017, a program officer named Andrea Ducasse at the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation wrote to us out of the blue. 2 of us, Kathy and Luke, had written a book that combined insights drawn from national poverty data and ethnography to paint a picture of the unseen lives of some of America's poorest families, those living on cash incomes of less than $2 per person per day. Would we, she asked, be interested in collaborating on a project to do the same thing for America's poorest places? Immediately, we were intrigued by the idea of studying places instead of people. The social sciences had a rich tradition of community studies from about the turn of the 20th century onward. Yet, broadly speaking, these days the proud tradition of the community study seems a bit out of vogue. More recently, prominent work in the social sciences conducted by towering figures such as William Julius Wilson, who wrote the landmark book, The Truly Disadvantaged, theorized that place is key to understanding how people's lives unfold. But most of this work has focused on neighborhoods in big cities. Matthew Desmond has made the case that poverty is not just the experience of not having enough, but is the byproduct of relationships between the actual people, tenant and landlord, worker and employer, within a place. Following this idea to its logical end means studying the relationships among a whole variety of actors in a given community. We wondered, why were so few of our colleagues studying whole communities? Why weren't we?
Sample complete. Ready to continue?